Space is not the final frontier, but it does require preparation, industry, investment, strategic planning. Today, I have the distinct pleasure and honor to welcome with us Mr. George Danos, who is the director of the International Space Innovation Center. My name is Dr. Marios Eftimiopoulos, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Strategy International. And this is Prime Analysis. Dear Mr. Danos, my dear friend George, welcome to another web series of Prime Analysis here at Strategy International.
It is a great pleasure to be with you again, my dear friend Marios, especially at this great time.
Yep.
After the COSPAR Global Space Symposium that was hosted by the Cyprus Space Exploration Organisation here in Cyprus.
That's exactly the reason why we invited you, for a lot of reasons. One of the first things that we have to say is that we do collaborate both personally and also institutionally together, but most importantly because of the great success that you have made into this recent COSPAR. And we're going to go and you're going to explain to us about COSPAR. But I think it's a privilege for us, first of all, to have you here, because I know of your time, but I also know that you have managed to put a great foothold of the Republic of Cyprus vis-a-vis Cyprus innovation, in exploration of outer space, and other related issues. So where do we start with? I guess about space. In our previous discussion, you said about the importance of Cyprus having a foothold into space exploration, space industries. Where are we heading it now? Give us in a few words, where are we now and where we're going with this?
I'm going to start by saying, who is COSPAR? What is this organization that hosted this symposium, that actually held this symposium here in Cyprus? COSPAR is, if I paraphrase the organization, is the International Space Research Organization. It goes way back during the first satellites of humanity into space and the first people that went into space. So this organization unites the nations with one global intention, the vision of humanity for the sustainability of our planet. Mm-hmm. The knowledge that we bring from space, the technologies we bring from space are instrumental to solve a myriad of problems that we have for our sustainability, viability, with all the problems we have here down on Earth. So it was necessary to create an international space innovation center.
In Cyprus.
And that was selected to be here in Cyprus. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, it was selected that Cyprus would host their global symposium, which was done just a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
How did the symposium go? Beyond our expectations. We put a lot of hard work to make sure that was a successful symposium. And despite certain challenges, for example, one of the challenges was the fact that we had the US government shutdown. And therefore, we didn't have anybody from high level of NASA participating. We did have people coming that do work for NASA, cooperate with NASA, etc. But we were expecting originally the associate administrator of NASA, but that wasn't possible because of the shutdown. Nevertheless, if I concentrate on the symposium, the numbers were much higher than what we had anticipated. And had we had everybody coming, mm-hmm. then the numbers would have been through the roof. That's one. But two, the scope of the symposium, the announcements that were made, and we're not speaking about just scientific announcements, and there was plenty of those, but the announcements that are of global importance. For example, we spoke in the past about the energy, the life that our sun brings to our planet, but at the same time, our sun can be dangerous, especially when we have the maximum of the sun. The 11-year cycle of the sun has its maximum every now and then, every 11 years. And specifically this time, the maximum was in 2024 and 2025. So when the sun bombards our planet and the rest of the solar system with radiation and particles, etc., those can have a major disruption of our technologies.
Right.
And if a major event happens, and in the past we had major events like the 1859 Carrington event, and we've seen other events called the Miyagi events that go thousands of years, 8,000 of years ago. We don't fully understand the impact of such events to our technology.
Let me just stop you here for a minute so we can take a few steps back. It is common in our web series to talk about the background of the person who's been discussing about the subject. So I want you to inform us and remind us that you have a background in engineering at Imperial College and so on and so forth. And I'll lead the discussion into the why we are discussing those things, into the importance. Please go ahead and tell me a few things about you exactly on what competences you bring onto the table when we discuss about space.
Something which is missing from this space sector, not completely, but it's not like the norm, is to have somebody who's a scientist and at the same time an entrepreneur. Because we need to take the science, commercialize it, and make that science bring results. And those results have to be technological, economic, entrepreneurship, startups, employment, etc. So other than being a scientist, I'm an engineer, a space diplomat, and a founder of one of the Richard Branson Virgin group of companies. It was a particularly successful endeavor back in the dot-com era. And more recently, I was elected as the first president of the Parallel Parliament for Entrepreneurship of the Republic of Cyprus.
And that's exactly the reason why it led you to the Innovation Space Center?
The whole thing, I would say, led us. I would say the most important element is, as an organization, we held all the competitions of NASA, ESA, CNES, Copernicus. It's a long list here in Cyprus for the last 15 years. And we saw 8 global successes for Cyprus.
Let me just ask you here. You're a private citizen and you're also entrepreneur, but I guess you also collaborate with the Republic of Cyprus as with the government.
Yes.
Where do the two are distinctively different in the sense of collaboration or distinctive differences in terms of institutions? One is a public institution, the other one is a private entity that is actually collaborating for the benefit of the Republic of Cyprus. Therefore, there must be some sort of collaboration. And where do you see the potential of collaboration between the two, not the two sides, but the one should connect with the other, one should help the other, and so on?
In modern governance, as defined by the European Union, and we've seen in countries like the United States, you have multiple pillars. You have the policy, regulation, but then you have science, entrepreneurship, innovation, and the top level is the government. And the government creates a strategy.
Right.
Where do we head as a nation? Or where all the different nations have their own strategy. We also have the smart specialization strategy for the European Union.
Right.
So that's the, let's say, regulatory policy strategy level. But then you have those, the private entities, the research institutions, the centers of excellence. For example, we are now one of 2 centers of excellence on the planet, one in the United States and one here in Cyprus, for COSPAR, and this is the International Space Innovation Center.
So you have 2 Innovation Space Center
in the world. One is in Cyprus and the other one in the United States in Boulder, Colorado.
Right.
So
that's major.
When it happened, we couldn't believe ourselves that it had happened. But then we saw the major responsibility in getting things right, because yes, we're not the United States. We're a much smaller nation.
And where does the government collaboration with you gets in?
Well, that's exactly,
because that's a norm. That's
yes.
a norm in the U.S. So
Yes.
I guess you would inherit the same norms in the Republic of Cyprus, I guess.
And on the basis of the smart specialization, you have basically the centers of excellence, you have the science institutions, you have the entrepreneurship, the enterprises, the companies. All of that is basically the entire ecosystem that is working to produce results, and the government supporting these results or cooperating, or you have a back and forth, then it magnifies results for even better successes for the country. So the two go hand in hand.
And let me make one distinction. Maybe that would be helpful also for our audience. What is the exact mission of the Innovation Center, the Space Innovation? What is the mission? Because I guess you are constructing things. I know that you've shown me the amazing printer where you're going to do the variety of satellites and so on and so forth.
The metal 3D printer.
And I guess people should visit that, to be honest, because it's not about one in a lifetime, but we have a different relationship together. So I feel you as a person that you do innovation, but I want to know at which level, what do you do, what is the mission, and how it connects also with the government entities, because I've seen recently that we've joined the ESA as well, the European Space Agency at certain levels, so you can tell us about both.
Very important. I congratulate the Deputy Ministry for Research and Innovation for achieving this very important goal. Way back when we first started, we set a first goal that we would support the government in making Cyprus a member of the European Space Agency, and this has happened, and we're very, very happy and congratulate everybody who has worked to make this into
I guess technically, with technical advice and technical knowledge.
Yes, we were involved with technical advice, scientific advice, the know-how that we had, and the advisory that we have from multiple people from around the world. The organization has got a great advisory body that has got some of the most eminent people from around the world. So that advice is useful for us here in Cyprus. But to go back to your question, the organization went into a competition, an open competition, to propose a national strategic infrastructure.
Right.
And we proposed to create the Cyprus Space Research Center.
Right.
But that center then got the international title. Why did it get that title? Because of the work that the organization has had at the international framework of uniting or bringing together actors from around the world. Hence, they gave us the title International Space Innovation Center. Major responsibilities, and what do we do? To start with, we have created with COSPAR and the other partners we have, for example, the panel.
And I'm sorry, tell us also what COSPAR constitutes. Like, I know it's an abbreviation.
The initial stands for Committee on Space Research, but it has by far
it has an extended mission.
It's effectively now the International Space Research Organization, the most important organization, global organization for space research, which unites the nations, and everybody from NASA to all the way to Japan are members of COSPAR. So when it comes to innovation, that's when we need to start changing things. It's not anymore about just basic research, but it's about stimulating the young entrepreneurs, the young scientists, the young innovators into producing new results. And we can no longer be complacent that the pace that we have right now is the right pace. So when they saw that our organization, the Cyprus Space Exploration Organization, has had so many results at the international level, global achievements, the Chief Innovation Officer of our organization was awarded by NASA that's Mr. Colum Larkin. He was awarded a NASA medal for his role in stimulating innovation globally. So that was one. Then the methodology by which we innovate and the whole, template that we use for the Moon Village Association and other competitions, now we took it and we made it the first innovation competition of the International Space Research Organization, So effectively, from here, from Cyprus, we are formulating and we run...
You're formulating a policy on space.
Globally.
globally.
on a global scale.
Right.
So
And that requires a lot of people coming in and out, right?
Yes, and that policy is primarily on innovation, entrepreneurship, and to take those results for sustainability. And that was the theme of the symposium. And let me say that our grand sponsor for the symposium, which was Lockheed Martin, are involved by having Eric Smith in the competition. Eric Smith is one of the directors of Lockheed Martin and the chair of the innovation panel of COSPAR, and he's involved heavily in this competition. And he has worked very hard for the whole year to make this competition a success.
If I was to ask you for a quote of the success between COSPAR and the Space Innovation Center, the International Space Innovation Center that you have established, considering that major entities, defense companies that we know, Lockheed Martin is mostly a defense company, but then they're working on space, and NASA and all the European Space Agency institution and others. If you give me a quote about how do you feel about it? I mean, what is the success as today, and where it goes into the future? Where could we say that?
Cyprus has shown that we can and we did deliver more than we expected. We were congratulated, and they said, COSPAR said, everybody who participated said that we raised the bar and we have created a landmark symposium, which will make it even more difficult for future symposia because of the scope, the scale, the participation, and the results that were announced at the symposium.
That was exactly my feeling from the vibes that came out. Considering that I knew your preparations, the collaborations, and I'll come back to the government collaboration because we haven't finished that part, but it's a major milestone. I would call it a milestone. I come from a political background, so we have milestones. But it's a major milestone because not only you wrote history about it, but you pointed out the importance of Cyprus into space. Space exploration, space innovation, space engineering, collaboration in the international community arena, and so on and so forth. How difficult was it? Because I know that you spent a great deal of not only time, but power, efforts, people. Overtimes. Tell us a few things about this, and tell us, if you want, the momentum that built, the milestones that we're passing through.
I'm going to start from the today before I go to the past.
So we can go to the future.
We can go to the future then, yes. The companies that participated, the organizations that participated, the fact that we had all the major space agencies participating at the symposium, at the Space Agency Leaders panel, and the fact that we had Lockheed Martin coordinating a number of panels. For example, Mary Snitch, another principal of Lockheed Martin, she hosted the industry-led presentations, and we had themselves. We had IHI from Japan, another major corporation, multi-billion corporation. We had Northrop Grumman, another sponsor of the symposium. We had the United Launch Alliance. We had the chief rocket scientist from them, and many others. So having all these stellar names, like major conglomerates, being here in Cyprus and seeing the hospitality, the friendship that we gave, and above all, the way we held the symposium scientifically, organizationally, they were so happy that friends that we had are now twice as much friends, and we made even more friends. Now, this is particularly important for the organization, for the country, and for the strategy of how we move forward, because I can see a number of boxes of the strategy being ticked. For example, attract foreign interests to set operation in the country.
In motion.
Motion.
And actually, we will come to the future, but there was a reason why I asked you. Because now I'm leading you into what were the conclusions. And where are we going to go into this? I want to concentrate on the conclusions. Every conference should lead to conclusions, which are another milestone, the steps forward.
Yes.
So what were the primarily the first conclusions that came out of this? So organizationally, it was excellent. Collaboration between institutions and governments was excellent. The Republic of Cyprus, as I know, was also represented. Invest Cyprus was there. The chief scientist was there also.
The MEP, Mr. Mavridis.
Yeah, the MEPs.
Yes.
Mr. Mavridis, Dimitris Kouridis is the chief scientist of the Republic of Cyprus and a good friend. And also Marios Danousis from Invest Cyprus as well, the CEO of Invest Cyprus, where you also have an MOU with them as well.
Yes.
So
Mayor of Nicosia,
the mayor of Nicosia and other
many
great
others,
people, representatives of the government as well. So people actually embraced it. What were the conclusions and how are we going to disseminate? Because from now on, I would like to add our, if you want, 5 cents, where we disseminate the results. So what were the primary results of this major meeting, which happens every 2 years,
every 2 years,
if I'm correct. And the next one is in Dubai. Am I right?
That one I don't remember.
I think that was in Dubai.
Yeah. Because the Global Assembly is happening next year in Florence.
Yeah.
Florentia.
So then they will decide.
I don't remember if they have decided where the symposium is going to be, the next symposium. That information escapes me. But going back to what you said, there are different level success stories here. The very fact that they declared the symposium to be a landmark symposium that raised the bar, that's the first one.
So could you please repeat that again? It's a what? It's a
landmark event. The COSPAR and the partners that participated from all the world, everybody was saying that this is a landmark event. It was longer, better scope, the most participants so far at a symposium, and the results that were announced, especially Jean-Claude Worms, the Director General of COSPAR, made a substantial announcement, the heliophysics guidelines, which unites humanity to protect our planet from the impacts of the sun. What I said before, the Carrington event, the Miyagi event, etc.
I presume the collaboration of the international community in ensuring that whatever comes from the sun is actually utilized for energy purposes, I would guess, rather than harm us.
Harming our
so
technology.
We have to look at, I guess, we've got to look at stratospheres, the whole atmosphere.
That announcement alone was major. It was made from here.
What were the scientific findings in simple English? Because you're going deep into the scientific part, so I don't want to miss this part, and I think is important. So on this, we consider that the Earth is in trouble, and we have to face the consequences or protect it? Or
Well, there are multiple dangers from asteroids, the sun, our own behavior, probably one of the biggest chain dangers, and we need to have sustainable solutions. So there were many results from many scientists, but I would focus on the press conference of the Thursday, just before the finale of the symposium, where the researchers that are part of the International Space Innovation Center from Finland and from Cyprus, Eija Tanskanen from the Sotangula Geophysical Observatory of Finland, of the Oulu University, she announced one of her discoveries that the impact of the sun is coming delayed by 1 or 2 years after the maximum of the sun. And that we didn't know.
How come?
Why? That's a bit
But it
of
was
a
meant to travel quite fast, right?
It's a buffering effect.
All right. Okay.
So all this activity of the sun.
But that's science. By the way.
That's science.
So
yes.
nothing is static in science.
Yes. So she made this discovery, which basically means that we don't stop monitoring the sun and like having measures for the sun when the maximum finishes, but we have to continue a couple of years more. So extra vigilance. So that was the first announced discovery of the International Space Innovation Center, specifically Sotangula Geophysical Observatory. The second one The other partner of the center, the CING, the Cyprus Institute for Neurology and Genetics, George Spirou, made his own discoveries. And there are so many, I can only name one from the many because I don't even remember how to correctly phrase them. But he studied the impact of space to astronauts. He found, if I remember well, either 11 or 12 dysregulated genes from the impact of space on astronauts. And then his team identified, using bioinformatics, existing drugs that we use on Earth, and he repurposed them for the astronauts. And then he again repurposed them for the use of people on the ground for multiple different types of conditions. So we found how space research can help the health of the population here on the ground. So these are some of the scientific results.
Can I ask you a question? I mean, just because it was happening at the same time when it was, I don't know if you probably on public public ventures and stuff like dinners and so on. The discussion was probably vibrant on this one, the subject that I'm going to tell you. But did you discuss about the comet that is coming close to us?
Are you speaking about the 3i Atlas?
Yeah.
Yes, well, the scientific community, almost the entire scientific community with some exceptions, do recognize this object as a comet and not as some have said a spaceship. And the scientific community has...
which must be made clear that it's not.
It has to be made clear that we do not
But is it going... Does it change... because one of the most important, if you want, on a milestone was, would it change course towards Earth or would it bypass Earth?
It's already on its way out of our solar system.
Right.
It came with extreme speed. I don't remember the exact, but I think it was 200,000. Sorry?
It bypassed us.
It's gone. It's leaving now the solar system.
Right.
And it wasn't too close to our planet. It was closer to Mars, closer to the sun than it was to the Earth because of the trajectory. But it travels at enormous speed, 200,000 kilometers per hour, which is crazy. So it has changed course, not because some alien is sitting inside the comet or the spacecraft and is changing the course, but because natural processes, the ejection of gases from the heat up from the sun, is creating this sublimation effect.
And it says a lot how much we have to be careful on extensive utility of people that may manipulate, if you want, the art of social media's push.
It's happening a lot.
So it gives you another reason of importance of why one should hear out such conferences, even if we're not specialists on such issues. Because, and now I'm going into the future, space exploration, utility of energy in outer space, satellites for further exploration. I watched the announcement of Elon Musk. Elon Musk, we know because he does things, but other also companies do that, multiple ones. He wants to put colonies straight, and he started talking logistics about it. He said that he wants to reach 2,000 rockets a year or something like that, where it goes back and forth. He wants basically to commute.
And he announced that the rocket is not going to be landing like this on the moon, but it will be like...
Yes. So he did a lot of things, including robots. Suddenly, everybody's making robots, not making public the fact that they have robots. Probably because we're going to be needed humanoids, if I can call it that. Eventually, the robots
we must
humanoids for the exploration, for, I guess, space exploration that has a lot of damage. So I guess also the how to sleep on sleeping pods will also be one of the discussions. Did you go from the scientific into the more exploratory, which brings our mind into a lot of science fiction? But is it fiction or is it science?
And we went also into the legal framework.
Oh, even
we
better.
Basically had students
based on the UN legal frameworks, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
and also
on space utility and space law. Yeah,
we had two young lawyers from the University of Athens that I personally selected to present because I very much like their thesis, their presentation, and they spoke about the ethics of genetically augmenting humans to be more resistant in space environments.
So we're trying for that as well.
We're talking about like the eugenics theories.
So I guess also that connects with medicine, with the DNA,
Discovery.
book. Yeah, the Bible of the
yes.
DNA, they call it.
Yes.
And there was a thing 10, 15 years ago where all medicine started, and they said that slowly but steadily they're going to resolve all pending issues.
With the use of CRISPR and the genetic editing.
But this is
etc.
also, I guess, important for space exploration.
Yes.
I mean, we have to say here to our audience that the MRI is a result
space. Exactly.
of space.
And the coding of our sunglasses. And there are so many technologies.
And a lot of other
Yes,
things.
yes.
So a lot of things are because of space. But now what I see is that we're blending things together. So things are going together.
Yes.
We're seeing massive investments in energy fields, in space industry, direct or indirect, defense on space, and it goes on and on, either against a threat out of Earth or a threat because of geopolitics within the Earth. But all this is technological advancement.
Yes.
So
Which benefit our planet.
Excuse me?
Which benefit our planet.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not space for space, but it's space for our sustainability. It goes back to
Did you put that into some sort of a framework of discussions?
Yes, that's the Space Exploration Roadmap that was presented by Bernard Fouang of the European Space Agency. We had with us also the policy advisor of the European Space Agency, and they all spoke about the roadmap, the future of space exploration, and the bases on the moon, then the next step, Mars, then out of our solar system, sending probes out of our solar
Mars
system.
first, probes.
Yes.
Probes are
Finding
already
life.
going outside, right?
Yes, we have
Different
a
missions.
couple of, the Voyagers, which are now outside the influence of our sun in interstellar medium. But they are speaking about going to the nearest star with different technologies. So the roadmap was presented at the opening ceremony and throughout the symposium. But let me say something important. The symposium, we didn't want it to be just scientists for science. We didn't want to be announcements on policy. We wanted the young people, the public, to embrace that and to feel that there was something for them too. And that's why we had the public street, Space Street Science Festival.
Which was also embraced by the municipality of Nicosia.
Which was indeed, and I thank for that the mayor, Mr. Brunzos, who participated.
Dear friend as well.
Exactly. That was fantastic that Nicosia embraced in such a way, because effectively we chose to have this in Nicosia, this symposium, and not typically that this symposia go somewhere by the beach because people want to swim. So it was about showing
we should never forget. We should never forget that it's an island with nice sunny beaches and sunny environment, but also the Nicosia, historically, technologically, and the future of it.
And we specifically chose that within the walls Nicosia to bring life to all the businesses. And imagine hundreds and hundreds of scientists were flooding the restaurants of Nicosia and all the bars of Nicosia. So we brought a lot of activity there. But then during the festival, the street festival, children and their parents came to Platia Dimarchias, the main town hall square, and we had two astronauts, a space rocket scientist
from Hungary,
an astronaut from Hungary, another one from Spain, a man and a woman. Spoke to the children. That was a first in Cyprus to have two astronauts and a space rocket scientist, and scientists from NASA who spoke to the children, and scientists from the European Space Agency and from Japan and many, many others. It was absolutely amazing for the children to be embraced with so much thrilling personalities to speak to them. I was excited myself because it was a dream come true to see all this, some of the most important people of the international space community doing outreach in our Nicosia Square to children and adults. It was fantastic.
So I guess you mix business with pleasure as well.
Yes, we did.
That's another success.
And we took them to the mountains, to one of my most favorite restaurants, to have full Cypriot meze, dance, all the Cypriot dances. Yeah, you can imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a must. We have to say that it's
must.
not only business, but sometimes on a table you can discuss many more things.
They dance all the Greek dances you can imagine, all the Cypriot dances round around the restaurant, and we showed them how halloumi is made, and they had halloumi freshly made there and then in front of them.
A national product of Cyprus.
The national product of Cyprus. And they were very happy with that.
So success 360, I would call it.
Indeed.
So the future.
That's the important thing now.
And I want to blend how also your center is going to work with the government and how the government can also support the center. Because we know that the government can support everybody else. I saw Dimitris Kouridis, as I said earlier, the chief scientist, he also made a very good speech. Mr. Danos, also of Invest Cyprus.
The permanent secretary of the Ministry of Innovation and Research. Yes,
as well.
Yes.
So how all this is going to get together, how is it going to blend in terms of strategy, in terms of policy? Because that, from now on, and I think also we are coming in at that level because we also spoke that we consider important to outreach and boost the competitiveness and boost a new industry, which will require resilience to the strategy, so faith, interdisciplinary approaches into that, investment, technology of all kinds, space, outer space, industry, defense, AI, all blended together, physical entities here, and more testing of people, artifacts, technology, space, even machines that can fly us out, I guess.
I'm going to start by saying that we showed to the international community that this country isn't just about beautiful island with beautiful sunny weather and beautiful beaches to come and swim. To underline this part, I want to say that I've already heard that many of the participants at the symposium have already booked their tickets to come to Cyprus for personal, private holidays. Yes. So that's the first thing. But this is the thing that I'm saying now is not just about that. We showed them that there are technologies here, that there's innovation here, that it's a very decent country to work with. It's a country to set base.
But it's important to have depth in strategic planning ahead.
Yes.
I mean, you are an international space innovation center.
We signed 2 MOUs already, and we're heading to sign even more. And these MOUs are one with Japan and the other one with India, both with corporations. Massive one of them is a massive corporation, the IHI of Japan. And more and more companies have already called us and sent us emails to cooperate with them. So therefore, this shows that one of the goals has been achieved. Businesses are interested in Cyprus. Corporations are interested in Cyprus. But then go on. Programs will be running from Cyprus for the international ecosystem, and the benefits, other than the international ecosystem, which is our primary goal now, will be benefiting the ecosystem of Cyprus as well. So there's a lot to be done, and these MOUs that have been signed and will be signed, it's just a springboard where many others. Our cluster, for example, we have the International Space Cluster. It started by being called the Cyprus Space Cluster, but because we have now so many members from abroad, it became the International Space Cluster. So all the companies that are part of our cluster can now benefit, and the ecosystem of Cyprus, the entrepreneurship ecosystem of Cyprus will benefit economically and create jobs and facilitate. We've already been doing that, and we're doing it even more now. The president of Cyprus said, we want to reverse brain drain. All these people that have been watching Cyprus having this success story on space, high talents, and Cypriots that are working abroad already called me and said, George, can we work for the organization in Cyprus? So it's happening. So we showed them that there's a lot of incentivization, and it's not just incentivization of policy, which is absolutely necessary, but it's also a magnet of the space exploration, saying to them, come here and you can work at an international center with cutting-edge equipment that produces microsatellites that will go into space and study the impact of space on health and other science
But can
experiments
we
we
go
do.
above space satellite? Can we go above bigger plans than
Yes.
satellite? I know
Yes.
satellite is big. You
Yes.
showed me the
Yes.
amazing work how it's
Yes.
done. Um, it's the engineering 101 basically. But can we do further
Yes.
than this?
Yes. There are extremely important space diplomacy elements that are particularly important for the strategic vision of Cyprus in being a hub, diplomacy hub, science hub, and more. And there
High
are
level diplomacy, by the way.
very high level diplomacy. And let's not
So
forget
we need
about
to add the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here, and
indeed,
probably the Ministry of
indeed,
Defense at next level. Right?
indeed. There needs to be a task force of representatives from different ministries where together the private ecosystem, the scientific, the international center, the
The
governance,
strategic planning.
all of us work together for a common goal. Better results, magnified results, catalyze the results for this country.
And I guess closing this discussion, I guess this is the best close ever, in the sense that what I've understood from what you said is we're going for further exploration from satellites and utility industry in order to protect us from unwanting elements, from sun power to any kind of debris that may come. Also, we also have the discussion of debris we didn't open, but also other out of Earth issues. It looks as a pure international center that needs support. And there was a reason also why I said more for government collaboration between the two sides, your international organization and the government, because I guess both have very distinct roles, but at the same time very cooperative roles.
Yes.
And I also want to put our own 5 cents that it was also part of us that we've also agreed between an MOU between your other organization, the CSEO, the Cyprus Space Exploration Organization, and Strategy International, to collaborate together, and also hence your capabilities in your holistic and direct approach in also being part of our scientific board. So I thank you for this one as well. But I really consider it a must, because behind all this that you said, I was really thinking industry. And I was thinking that it really unites. You said diplomacy. I say political diplomacy, the political element, the high level, the one that fixes, creates an economy, generations of people that will come out as engineers of all kinds, from all technology hubs, let's say the whole ecosystem, and the digital ecosystem, and the medical, and the defense, and that requires to do that blend, the same blend that exists in Japan, in Europe with the ESA, the blend that exists also with the United States, that needs to be also held in parts, if not in totality, at least for the European area, in Cyprus, and from what you're doing. So my dear friend George, really I wanted to congratulate you, and publicly at this stage, because I know the job that you have done, and this is ultimately because of you and your team. Congratulate also your team on the back, because these things are really, really, really important, and it becomes very evident that we don't have to take things for granted, and you don't take things for granted. I'm not going to say about the possible obstacles that you might have reached in front, but in order for people to support, because we face the same thing for us as strategy, they have to learn, vision what you vision, and work with you along the lines of progress, because that's innovation, that's pioneering. We're missing that in the equation of our communities, considering what is happening around the world, the instability and so on, and the threats that are coming from west, east, west, and goes on north, south, and goes on. So congratulations to you and your team, and thank you very much for joining us. I will say it also one more time, the things that we said earlier off camera, that I think we need to disseminate this information with variety of actions, from simple webinars and seminars and training courses to figuring out, because you said something very important, the culture of the young people coming into the market. We need people. And if Free Brain is part of it, so be it. It's also good policy to bring people back with incentives. But this is a major incentive. And this goes beyond the citizen of Cyprus. It goes to the European. It goes to the international bodies of institutions that want to collaborate with you, and also the governments. And as I said, again, the people, the graduates of universities that want to envision things the same way when you had graduated also from Imperial College, where you were and you did your first baby steps at that time. So congratulations to you and your team.
Maria, let me say a very big thank you and say that with the guidance of your organization, Strategy International, and the immense know-how in geopolitics, an organization which is a scientific organization but understands the importance of geopolitics needs the help of your organization, and we're looking forward to working very closely with you, because after the symposium, the challenges, the opportunities are immense.
Yep.
And I want to also thank my team for the very hard work to make the symposium a success. I want to thank COSPAR and everybody else who participated from the international community. And I want to say a very big thank you to COSPAR for recognizing the immense effort that was put into planning and executing the symposium. They gave to our organization, to the team of CSEO, a COSPAR medal, which made us all very, very happy, and that the effort has been recognized. And let me say that in the international terrain, the geopolitics of space and the planet, recently we had been with Mr. Skouridis to NASA, and that's when Cyprus signed the Artemis Accords, and many interesting things are coming. Apparently,
tell us if you in 1 minute. The Artemis Accord is to the moon, yeah.
The Artemis Accords is a very important framework of the United States with all their friends for the return of humanity to the moon, and Cyprus has signed that protocol, the Accords, and I understand that my name in the circles of the White House and the State Department, it's Space George. That's what they call me apparently. And we are now
because
working.
Sky is the limit for you.
Sky is the limit, indeed.
For you mostly, yeah.
So we're now working on other very, very important things, and that's where the cooperation we already have with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and many other ministries can bring amazing results, even bigger than the ones we have spoken about here today.
Hand in hand with the government of Cyprus, I guess, you will face all this international arena of abundance of choices, as you said, and we'll be there to support you the ways that we can, the way that we know. And I really thank you for this very, very interesting discussion, indeed high level caliber, and I'm very much looking forward for the next steps. George, it's been a pleasure to have you here. As I said, you're also our one of our board members, our scientific board members, and I'm very much looking forward having more discussions together. Thank you.
And let me give my hand.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your consideration, Marius.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for watching another web series of Strategy International. Please subscribe, share, like, and follow our social media and YouTube channel. My name is Dr. Marios Eftimiopoulos, and I'm the co-founder of Strategy International. And remember, impact makes a difference.